Hello and welcome everybody to Actual Play Band of Blades. The Legion has returned. All the commanding officers are here. I am very, very excited to play this game. Today has been a challenging day for me, and I've been looking forward to this all day long. I'm Sean. I see him pronouns, and I can't wait to find out what we do in Fort Callisto. Josh just sent us over the missions. So yeah, I'm excited to hear what our commander decides to do. How about you, Jay?
I am Jay. I use he, him pronouns. I'm getting caught up on fighting technology right now. I just brought up my roll 20 and all that other good stuff. So I want to know, how do we get out of this fort and catch up on what we've got built and figure out what's next. I don't even know who's next.
I'm next.
Jen's next. All right. Sorry.
No, you're cool. I am Jen Martin. I use she, her pronouns. I also missed last week, which I was bummed to miss. So I'm really stoked to play this game today. What about you, Misha?
I'm Misha B, she, her. Yeah, I was here last week, and there was some. It wasn't quite kissing, but there was definitely like leading towards romance between Matali and Voyas, and I'm kind of looking forward to see where that goes.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful thing.
If you haven't watched the last episode, it was like the most action movie Michael Bay thing we've ever done.
It was.
It was
And there
pretty
was
epic.
still a love story in the middle of it.
Right?
Because that's how we roll.
It was kind of epic. It was kind of epic. I mean, actually, just as I'm not to toot all you guys' horns or anything, but it's kind of a really cool class in how do you push Blades mechanics to the edge, because there's a lot of times where I would be like, this is a 10 clock, what are you going to do about it? And they're like, we're going to one-shot it, watch us do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, what's our position? I'm like, 0 effect. And they're like, okay, how do we make that great? And so
Yeah, and we did.
a lot of really cool stuff.
And then we did.
yeah, and then they did. So that's if you're ever watching Blades in the Dark, you must see a GM just like drop whole like nopes on the table, and the players just be like, but what if we do this? It's kind of a cool episode for that. Do folks want to recap? Are you, Jen? Did you watch it? Do you have a recap?
I didn't watch it. I'm a terrible lore keeper.
It's okay. And actually,
I'm planning a Kickstarter that's supposed to drop next week.
I totally understand. Busy. Misha, Sean, you were there with me, so I'd like you to help me tell the story, but I'll give us a little bit of a skeleton, and then you can say your favorite thing or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
We were locked out before the gates of Fort Callisto, and the plan was, so this mission requires horses, which is why the mission started with a 6 on the engagement roll, and it was controlled 0 effect. We'll get there. So, because apparently our quartermaster did not have horses.
I don't believe in horses. I make horses.
We have a steam engine. Why do we need horses?
Exactly.
We'll see. In a moment. So the there's this battlefield covered in an army and this horribly toxic fog. And so they actually give their soldiering unit to Zora, who manages to pull Blighter. She attacks an entire flank, goes like nuclear with her hair, and brings the flames. And while she does that, she creates like this pillar of flame into the deadly gas. And as soon as she's like done doing the fire, the empty hole remaining from her sword blow starts shifting with the wind, and then our troops have to ride down this corridor to this giant apparatus that is creating toxic chemicals that are going to be used in wall destruction and make it go boom, which they do. So like obviously that was kind of awesome. And in the process, they see Coneface, who's a giant 14-foot tall monstrosity stitched together from multiple bodies, because the undead are terrifying. And they decide that what would be a great plan is to sneak through the fog using the medics deep, so they don't have to breathe, and backstab this thing real hard. So they do that, and there is an awesome scene.
On shields, I believe Miltali dragged us on a tower shield as a sled through
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Yeah.
It's actually true. Using rage essence, they gave him rage venom, which he injected into his veins, pulled everyone through, and they sneak up on this thing. They roll like a freaking crit to like sneak up on this thing. I'm like, okay. And so they pop up on this thing, and they decide that they want to kill it in one blow. And I'm like, okay, well, here's a 10 clock, and that's not going to happen. And they're like, yeah, no, we're going to make it happen. So they give Matale both the Hammer of Matiar and the spear named Sunrender. And he decides to make it desperate by pulling in more god juice than he rightfully should. Rolls a 4 to 5. Fine.
It was controlled great to start with because we had such a good ambush setup. And then we were like, how about more? How about more?
Yep. And so obviously he pulls all the power in, channels the power of both the gods, fuses them, delivers a mighty set of blows, kills this thing, and then because he's like pulling in so much power, he like can't contain it and he just dissipates, right? And I'm like, that's the 4 to 5, is like you dissipate. And John immediately messages me and he goes, you're a jerk, I can't armor that. But Sean delivers this epic speech where Voyus actually like puts his hands on Matale and reminds him that he doesn't believe in this god bullshit and tries to siphon off some of that energy and uses Bulwark to try and shield him because that will protect teammates from consequences during battle, which this was. And so he makes an epic resolve resist and the two of them both like come back down out of that like super juiced high. And then while they're staring into each other's eyes, the doctor actually gets them going. And as the enemy army is about to collapse on everyone, kicks over a barrel, Donkey Kong style, sends it like flying into the enemies, like shoots it with her pistol, blows it up, creates a pathway for them to run through, and they catch on to the tail end of the Legion as it enters the fort. So that was the episode.
Ride the steam engines on.
Yeah, you folks feel free to fill in anything that I forgot.
One of my favorite moments as Voyus, beyond the one that Strash just described, which was definitely my favorite, was when we were trying to figure out how to get Matale to like run us across, and as Voyus has backup, which is the ability to help other people push themselves, which is Matale was pushing for effect so that he could drag us. And I remember the scene in Highlander when Ramirez is like coaching Connor McLeod, and he's like, "Feel the stag, run like the stag," and ran alongside Matale until Matale got like running full speed, and then jumped on the tower shield, let him ride us, pull us all the way through. And the image of that in my mind was delightful, and just imagining Matale just tearing through whatever got in front of him and dragging us all along. And then Strash going, "What about your squad?" And we're like, "Yeah, we'll send him with Zora." He's like, "So you're going to do this whole mission with just 3 specialists?" "Yeah, we got this."
Pretty much, we got it.
"You have a squad of soldiers." It's fine. Let's give Zora some grenades. It's cool.
It actually turned out that thanks to that scale differential, Zora was not only able to be unwounded, but actually made decent progress against the undead. So the soldiers actually made all the difference on her end, too.
I also hear that Flavia's hair lit on fire.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Yeah. And not the kind that smells bad.
Yes, not the kind that smells bad. Yes. Cool. So I believe we ran through everything last time, Sean. Did we do downtime actions and jazz?
No, we just did. We did
just mission penalties and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we got back at camp and campaign stuff.
All right. So.
Did John do a back at camp scene?
He did. Yeah.
Which one did he do? Do you remember?
He did 2 things. He read from the book of a time when
which was wrong.
Yeah, it was wrong.
He jumped ahead.
So
that's fine.
Yeah, and he talked about a time when the Legion faced a shade in Dar, and we developed Crimson Shot, and that was the first time that it had, and we also developed the modern rifle because we had to use there had to be something to deliver the Crimson Shot. So the first rifle was made by the Legion, which we then hawked to the highest bidder later on because we got better ones now, but it's a collector's piece somewhere. And then we had a back camp seat where a bunch of refugees came, and they wanted to be let in, and something wasn't quite right about them, and the Grinning Ravens kind of were there, and so it was the Lions. So they kind of split them up, took their leaders to talk to the commander, had the rest of them sit in the mess hall and eat. And Zora was like, "There's something wrong with them," and we realized that they had some corruption.
Blight. They had blight.
Yeah, and so
which thing am I crossing out then? Band of refugees.
Band of refugees. Yeah.
Okay.
Band of refugees. Sorry, you wanted to know the thing to cross out. I was.
Yeah. You're trying to give me the whole picture. Thank you.
Yeah,
no, it's fine.
That's it.
Cool. Did we discuss the fort?
We talked about the fort. You mentioned two things about the fort. One, there are tons and tons of people here, and so there's lots and lots of resources. But there's also a lot of conflict over what should be done with those resources. If anyone needs to know how to manage the resources, the quartermaster is just kidding. The special rules of this place is that until we acquire an asset called a route out of Glisco, we
can't leave.
We can't leave, and we have -1 D to our engagement rolls.
So that's true.
And I think the asset rating of Glisco is 2D, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Glisco is actually pretty well stocked. A lot of people came this direction, and then they realized that they couldn't truly go further. So there's actually a remarkable kind of cornucopia of supplies. You can find a lot of things here. So that's why it's assets rating 2. It's very condensed. Like most people, when you say the word fort, they think of like, I don't know, like a wooden palisade. This is like a proper F-off, control an entire like passage kind of fort, like big walls, almost like a small city inside kind of thing. It's definitely not tiny.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. So should we do our back at camp?
Take it away, Lord Keeper.
Sure. We're still at high morale, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. 10
Okay. Which one do I want? I don't want the one legionnaire stealing from another. That just seems mean.
Don't do it.
But my only other option for medium morale is after an undead attack, the Legion must break camp and relocate. And
I have a third option for you.
I would love a third option.
You could totally go low morale.
I could. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that was my recommendation to John for the game last week. Yeah, let's do it. So assuming that Zora has not managed to cure Voyus of his blight.
I don't think we've tried yet. No.
She took corruption off of some people.
Yes.
Yeah.
He removed some of Voyus's corruption, but not his blight.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do a festering blight wound covered up by a soldier is revealed, because I want to see Voyus some more.
Awesome. I have a idea for how that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this for a hot second, just before we get to this particular situation. Let's just establish a little bit of scenery. So this fort is commanded by a grizzled Aldramani veteran by the name of Commander Janakis. And everyone's kind of carved out little parts of the fort for themselves, right? So like you'll find people that like they're bivouacked like around where the old marketplace used to be. There are some people that took over, like the Garde Mécanique holds like the old barracks area. So like you folks are newcomers and you kind of have to squeeze in somewhere. So where does the Legion take up camp? Where do they sort of like claim is their area? Now I have to tell you this. There is no pleasant way to do this because a lot of like pretty much all the space is just used up, right? Like people have been crammed into this fort, so you kind of have to shove some people out of the way a little bit in order to set up your camp. And where do you go? Do you pick a fight with another military unit? Do you negotiate? Do you shove some of the civvies out of the way? What's the plan / action here? Just so I know where you are when all this goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm leaning towards negotiating with other military type folks. I don't want to pick a. Sorry?
No, sorry, didn't interrupt. I have an idea about that.
Oh yeah, because I was going to say I don't want to pick a fight with somebody, but I also don't want to just shove around civilians.
I think that we could come in and speak, presumably with Commander Jonicus, who's in charge. I'm sure she has a lot of people want to talk to her, but we just broke the siege that was on it. Now, I'm sure they're going to come back, but they had this big siege weapon that we destroyed, and I think that earns us an audience. And Quartermaster's perspective is, as soon as we get in front of Jonicus, wherever we happen to be standing, that's where we stay. So we sort of like meet, sort of like set up. You see, like, well, we're here now, and that would be Quartermaster's perspective on it. Is like,
I love it. That's perfect. No, I love it. Yes.
So Jonicus's tent is on the walls at the moment, although I'm sure he has an office down in the city proper somewhere. So yeah, do you folks just so do you shove like scribes and people that are kind of like bivouacked, etc., like out of the way and just set up? I'll make a call here. You tell me how you feel about this. You folks actually set up at like the equivalent of the city prison, because that's where Jonicus is currently like headquartered when he's not on the walls. Like, he patrols the walls pretty much down until dusk. He has like a big tent up there. When people need to talk to him, that's where they go. He mostly comes down here when he needs to do administrative shit. And so like a lot of the city's previous like not military personnel in terms of soldiers, but like military personnel in terms of like camp followers, laborers, that kind of thing, is actually like set up in their old prison. Because it wasn't super full to begin with. You get the feeling walking through this place that there's a lot of like time has passed and different buildings have been built at different time periods. This place is pretty old. So like it looks like it was designed a long time ago to contain a much larger population than the Aldermani had stocked here. So the fact that additional people came, like at first they were like, oh, we got plenty of room. And they were like, okay, well, maybe we don't have plenty of room. And then they were like, oh shit, where do we put everybody? So yeah, I guess that's where the Legion ends up. Is that fair?
I'm happy with it.
I like it.
That works.
Continue.
Prison walls are as good as any other walls.
Yep.
Yeah. Sean, did you have an idea about this Voyus Blight situation? Go for it.
If you would like me to play Voyus, I would be happy to.
I would love for you to play Voyus. I'm just trying to decide if who I want to have this come out to. If I want him to be speaking to Miltali about it, or if I just want Zora to show up.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a very public scene in mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bear in mind that Voyus's blight is visions.
Yeah.
He tends to see things that aren't there.
So it's not.
It could be in the middle of camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about I open the scene and you can just say who's there.
Perfect.
All right. So Voyus last brought Miltali in this mission, brought Miltali back to the world. But in the process, there was this sort of fading out of existence moment where Miltali could see all of the ghosts that haunt Voyus, all of the friends that have died that Voyus listens to. And Voyus protected Miltali, and part of doing that was exposing himself to those ghosts and hearing their cries again, the things he's been trying to tune out for a long time. Tune out since he joined the Legion, honestly. So there's a scene where Voyus with his blue dyed beard, and maybe just for the PG-13-ness of it, a towel wrapped around him, but that's it. Otherwise, buck naked at 5 a.m. is outside, and he has this big kingfisher blade, and he's just swinging it at the air, and he's reliving this duel, this fight with a beloved friend turned enemy, someone he thought was a brother who he had to he had to turn against when they because of some horrible circumstances, and he's just shouting. At, let's see, what's a good name? Ulrich. He's just shouting Ulrich's name and reliving this conversation and this fight, and it's very, very clear that there's no one else there. But in his mind, it's as real as if it had still been happened, and he doesn't seem to see anything else. And people are like having to dive out of the way. He's not paying attention to the world around him. He is a problem that someone is going to have to deal with. So that's how I'm going to start off that scene. And then Jen, you want to
Cool. Yeah. So I'm going to play Rhea, but I'm going to say even before we see her on screen, she has heard the commotion and goes to get Meltali, who I would like Jay to play. Misha, is there somebody you would like to play here? It's up to you. I don't have strong feelings either way. I definitely wanted to see Meltali, and I wanted to play Rhea.
Soldier C in the background going,
great.
What the hell?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Perfect. We don't have any random soldiers anymore. You'd be great off things.
They all have names.
I know, but yeah, I gotta figure out which one I want to be. So yeah,
got it.
Give me a second.
Cool. So yeah, Meltali, Rhea has just woken you up out of maybe a sound sleep, I don't know, and demanded that you come with her, and you can it probably takes like 3 seconds for you to like snap to like understanding what she's saying, and then the next time like Voyus like shouts or something, and then it's like, oh, okay, yeah. So we roll up and there's Voyus in a towel, swinging Kingfisher sword around, MVD.
Yeah.
And
see
Rhea.
all the scars on his chest and his back from battle wounds.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my God.
Indigo, we're placing bets on how long the towel stays on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very anime. It's very precariously tied right now, right? Like it's amazing for all the leaping and jumping and he's doing that it stayed on.
Well, and yeah, I'm getting a very like Evangelion, like the camera pans and then there's just a barrel in front of him strategically. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Rhea turns to Meltali and says, I mean, I can give him something, but you got to hold him still for me.
Let me talk to him first.
Okay.
If that goes poorly, I will hold him. Be ready.
Okay.
I tried to get in front of Voyus's vision, in front of his face. Well, not in front of his face.
That's also in front of his sword. Is that
okay? yeah, that'll be
okay. This is my
okay.
favorite pull quote. It's also in front of his sword.
But I want to not in his face, but in front of his vision.
Okay.
And I call out to him, Voyus, the battle is over.
Finally, you coward. You have the courage to say my name.
Oh, this is bad.
It is bad, Ulrich. What you have done is horrible, and it cannot be forgiven. Tell me you are here to make amends. Face me like a man, and I will cut you down this day.
I'm here to make amends. You're right.
Where is your sword?
I will not fight you.
Well, I will slay you then.
Then you will slay an unarmed man. I will not fight you, Voyus.
There's no redemption for you. I think Voyus charges you.
Oh!
I don't think he's 100% with it. I think you can knock the sword aside. I don't think this is a lethal blow, but I think partly it's really easy for Meltali because Voyus telegraphs it so far. Like he pulls the sword back and he comes charging. We see I think the camera cuts from just like his chest, his like waist up to that. It cuts to just his feet and like stomping in the mud, and the angle comes up to see you and you can totally see it coming. Like he's not being crafty right now.
Right. I think Meltali tries to wrap him up, sword arm, everything, tries to kind of get him all entangled up so he can't swing that thing around.
Yeah.
Maybe even take him to the ground, right? So we're both on the ground.
Yeah, I think now we're rolling around in the mud.
Right. Yes. Yes. HBO style.
What is Meltali wearing? That's what I would like to know.
Well, you just woke him up, right?
Yeah.
So I think he probably just has like short sleeping pants on.
Yeah.
Say it is getting close. Actually, I think you're very near winter, and you're not quite up in the mountains yet. I would say it's kind of cold. You might have like actual sleepwear.
Rats.
Maybe he's got a onesie.
Yeah.
That sounds great, like long johns or something.
Yeah, like long john.
So
yeah.
I think this is kind of ugly for at least for a little bit. Jay,
Right.
you tell me how far you think this go, but I'm
Right.
envisioning, Al Swearingen and
Yes.
rolling around in the mud
Right.
in Deadwood,
Right.
punching. I mean, you try to speak to him, but I think I want you to tell me the moment where you do get through to him. I think at first it doesn't get through to him, but I what do you think Multali says that does finally like make him realize that this is not the person who betrayed his family and then he would never see his family again.
I think if I remember this right, I wasn't at the session, but it sounds like at some point Matali was dissipating and Voyus came to save him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
And so I think Matali references that. What good is it for you to have saved me to just kill me this day?
Nice.
What was the point of that?
Cool. I think that it's reasonable to say that creates enough of a pause that if Ria wants to come in,
I was gonna say, and then Ria jumps on top of him and sticks him with a needle with a sedative of some sort.
Yeah.
So can I add a minor detail that I think is interesting, which is blight is not just purely mental; it's also physical. So I think probably when you actually pin Voyus and get him to the ground, you can see that his eyes are messed up. They've got like the white has turned black, and his normal colored eyes now have like moon silver in them because that's where he got the blight from. Hi, kitten. So I think that Misha, since you're playing the chorus as it were, would you tell us like how the soldiers are taking this? Like how is the rest of it? Because like initially you're like, yeah, let's all just bet some money and it's gonna be hilarious, but it gets kind of real, and you see like Voice struggling and not hearing people's words, and his eyes are weird. Like, how's everyone reacting to that?
I think so. As the fight goes on, you're getting more and more of the soldiers, and then like at some point they like look around and they start like using their bodies to block it from everybody else, so nobody else is seeing what the hell is going on. And it's whereas normally you get two soldiers fighting and there's lots of yelling and cheering. They're just silent, just watching. It's like, oh shit, this is oh crap. A, it's our two heavies. B, it's our two heavies. Did I mention that part? Those guys, it just came back from that thing. What the hell happened? Was it really that bad then? Is that what happened? Is that what had happened? And so there's like very low murmurs of that, but like it's not like a normal two guys fighting. You can clearly tell a very different atmosphere.
Cool.
Nice.
I feel like that scene, we might have more scenes as consequence, but I think that's...
Love it. It's perfect.
All right, cool.
Thank you for that. As soon as you said that, I'm like, I know exactly what to do. Visions.
I'm pretty sure we did time passes last time.
Yeah, we did time passes.
So I think let's ask, does anybody have any more free play scenes that they want to have?
I mean, I always want free play scenes with Zayanova and Ria, but I don't have a specific one in mind.
All right, in which case, if you want to think about that, we can make Sean do campaign actions.
Yeah, we can interject free play scenes in the middle of campaign actions for sure.
I'm curious what the command staff thinks of this little fiasco, and if they feel like they need to do anything about it.
Did Zora see it?
Yeah, that's
Zora actually. So as soon as you folks parked, usually Zora's in camp, right? Like she just leaves, and anybody that looks for her will find her on the walls, staring straight through the fog at where Blighter is.
Nice.
Just kind of standing on the walls, being like, "Sup, I'm here." Yeah.
Come at me.
Test your glory. So yeah.
Okay.
If somebody wants to fetch her, that's fine. But in general, she will not be in camp this particular go round.
Cool.
Like she's available. It's not like everyone's like, "Where's Zora?" Like
Right,
she's
right.
right
No, but
there.
if she was there watching this thing, she might have opinions.
Right.
But I think Quartermaster is mostly concerned with can they get back up and fight again, and is glad that they were rolling around and punching each other in the mud, because that's
Less
right.
lethal than swords.
Yeah, exactly. Quartermaster's like, send some soldier, go grab his sword, get that out of there. Okay, it's fine.
I think the commander is trying to gauge how many more fights Willius has in him before we have to put him down.
That's amazing.
Right? It's a tactical thing, right? To risk analysis. How much longer, or how much more does he have to give before he's a problem?
What's his risk versus reward? Yeah.
Right. I think
Do you have a
that's what-
conclusion, or is this just something we see like the commander like staring at? Like maybe they put Voyus in like the. Actually, that's a good question. Where do they put Voyus? Like, do they hide him in the medical tent? Do they put him in like the brig? Like, what's the? They just let him go? Like, what's the plan?
No, I think Matali is one probably a little annoyed, frustrated at the rest of the camp. If they're looky, you got all those looky-loos, and so he feels kind of protective of
Okay.
Voyus. And so I think Voyus ends up wherever Matali.
He's
stays.
tending him like a patient.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say like Rhea would advocate for Voyus going to the medical tent because she's hypothetically sedated him. So yeah,
Right.
if Miltali wants to come with, that's great.
Right.
Do you just like put some curtains up, or do you just like if people find accidental boo-boos in order to like sneak a peek, do you just like chase them off with some growls?
Oh,
Matali?
hell
Like,
yeah.
what's
No,
the-
yeah, chase him off. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I call them hens. We'll find some work to do, hens. Don't you have chores? Nothing to see here.
That's awesome.
At
I
some
love this so much.
I
Love it.
think
Love
Indigo brings you some like real clothes as opposed to just your long johns, because it's getting a little chilly, and you warm up in blankets. But the marshal's probably gonna pull like Rhea aside, and like, how bad is he?
I mean, I don't know how fit Rhea is to diagnose blight.
You can always study a person with research.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, she's gonna do that thing.
I
Yeah.
think we
Listen, anytime you ask if Rhea wants to research, the answer will always be yes.
Yes, Rhea now has 3 research.
What?
I know, right?
Amisha was playing Rhea. She got some XPs. That's what she did.
Yeah, I was
She also
apparently
got a dot and
seriously
shoot.
pinching
Rhea got
as
2
Rhea.
dots last session.
that Sean
Nice.
called me Jen.
Yes, true.
True facts.
What? All right, so I'm just rolling regular research.
Yeah.
I'll say risky standard, but like whatever.
Sounds good.
I got a 6.
All right then. I'm gonna say that. Well, we know for a fact that Voice has like 1 blight and a little change. So you think that this is probably just a bad episode? Something triggered him, probably being close to those weapons and all of that.
Discorporated for a bit.
You think that just it's like somebody with allergens, like, you might even take some Benadryl, but then like if something like crosses the threshold of what your medicine can cope with, you just it
Too
gets
much.
it's bad. So yeah, he had a really bad episode, but he's probably not going under anytime soon. Like if you can
Okay.
keep him away from gods and god things, he'll probably be fine.
No problem. Easy. No problem. I know. Yeah, so Rhea will relay that, I don't think that it's getting worse per se, but
Could I add one more detail to that roll, Strush? I think Rhea would notice this. Matali took a bunch of corruption. Doesn't have blight, but took 4 corruption last episode
dang.
using Sunrender. So would Rhea also perhaps pick up that like that spear is dangerous?
100%. Yeah.
Contact with that, and like I don't know that we actually fully understood how bad, what it took to use the spear, because the quartermaster's been keeping it in a chest in a box in a
Right.
cart.
Yeah,
with
nobody's
gloves made
building
out
it.
of
Yeah,
chainmail to pick it up with.
Exactly.
it's funny. Yeah, that seems like good information to have.
And I think the other thing that the marshal considers is when he wakes up, maybe having him take a quick chat with our chosen just for shits and giggles.
Does the marshal try to convince the chosen to do something?
Maybe we've seen the chosen burn corruption out of people.
We've sure
literally burn.
corruption, and so couldn't hurt. Well,
I mean,
okay, let me
Molotov
rephrase.
did actually have some of his corruption removed in the previous session, right? Like he had 2 dots of corruption that we got in play, and that got burned out of him by Zora, which we rolled to see how well he took it, and it was not well.
I believe
burning hurts bad.
Burning's bad. But I don't know how she can handle blight, and if she can handle blight, and so that's a thing that she'd probably want to have a chat about.
That's cool. So do you want to do like a free play scene where the marshal like finds Zora on a wall?
I would love to see that scene with the marshal going to the wall to talk to Zora.
Sure. The marshal goes, and she's wow, we're really high up. She's still not quite sure what to make of Zora. I mean, she's very weird. So out of curiosity, we seem to have a slight issue with one of our heavies, and maybe having a touch of blight. Is there anything you can think of to do about that?
I think Zora looks at you and says, he's been this way for some time. Why are you speaking to me now?
Mostly because I didn't know about it until now.
I'm so sorry to do this to you, Misha. So as Crush, I want you to understand that I think you're awesome.
Fair.
However, Zora's response is,
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
perhaps you should talk to your soldiers when they return from missions more carefully.
Perhaps.
If you want me to try something, it may kill him.
So there is something you can try.
It is possible. It is not guaranteed. When it advances that far, it's a bit different.
It's a treatment I would offer him. It's not a choice I can make for him, though.
It is not my decision.
Oh no, for him to even attempt it. That choice has to be his. That is not something I can decide for him.
She pauses for a second as if she's like checking to see if there's more to this talk, and if there isn't, she just turns around and doesn't say a word. She just turns around and starts staring right into that green fog.
I am not looking at her. We are both staring
side by side, staring at him.
Yeah.
She's got like her hands on the hilts of a blade, and she's just looking out. And you look, and it's like, I don't know, it's like morning light, right? Because like this all happened at like 5 a.m., right? So it's like before the light even came into camp, but now like the light is east is the mountain range, right? So it's like light actually happens very late in the day, and you see it like, you know, bursting over your shoulders, and you're casting shadows, and there's just this field of roiling, horrific green fog, and Zora is just staring right into it, like she can see right through it and what she's looking at. So yeah.
Nice. So you like her odds? She's like making bullshit small talk.
Oh my god, the marshal is always so like tough, and like all the soldiers are always coming whining to her about one thing or another. I love seeing her like be like, so
I think Zora just I think this is the first time you actually see her smile, right? And she just like shoots you that brilliant smile and she says, Blighter ran from me. Like that's all she says.
I'll take it. Yeah, and so yeah, the marsh comes down because she doesn't like heights.
You should put that in her character sheet. Just saying.
Oh, doesn't like heights.
nice. Who knows when to come back?
Oh, the high road's coming.
Yeah. Good times. Should I do a couple campaign actions?
Sure.
All right. I want to talk to you, Commander, about what campaign actions I'm going to do. Well, I'm actually both Commander and Marshal, because it affects based on the missions that we're going to go on.
Right.
So I'm going to go. Give that to chat. Booply boop.
Boopily boop.
Oh, so we should all as a group have a discussion about these. Uh-oh, did I mess up the... Nope, I got the names right. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, just so that you folks know this, when I rolled missions this time, I arbitrarily rolled a special mission. Nobody spent intel. It wasn't like anything that happened. It's just I rolled a 6, and then this is advice for you GMs at home. There are some fantastic missions in Fort Callisto, and all 3 of them are super good. And so for different reasons, very different reasons, but I love all 3 of them. And so I couldn't decide. So I rolled a die again, and it came up with the Guard Mechanique mission. So unfortunately, it has a special tag, and the tag is called Vital, and we can talk about it as a table. The Vital tag means that you have to do that mission as a primary mission. Usually, those missions are very good, so it's not a penalty. It's fine. It's oftentimes you'll find the tag on missions that have like specialists only, because if you send specialists on a secondary mission and they get a 4 to 5 and they don't have rookies, then they don't die, and it just there's a lot of questions and it gets really weird. So most of the specialist only missions are vital for that reason, right? Like from a design perspective. But if you folks decide that you really just want to play through a different mission, we can talk about how to shift some of the penalties around in order to make it like work.
Right. Or you could just not do it, right? Like we would take the penalty.
You can not do it and take the penalty.
So we could do it as primary or not do it, but we can't do it as secondary. Yes, we could do it that way. Technically, if we're playing 100%, by the way, it's written in the book, you have to do it as the primary mission. Oh, we have to. Okay, cool.
I believe so.
That's good.
But yes, I will double check the rules while you folks discuss, because I know for a fact that this is in the index.
Nice.
I made sure it was in the index. Final mission 215. Here we go.
Well, I mean,
so
the question is, how long do we want to spend in Callisto?
Not any time at all.
Looks like we're probably going to want to take at least Operation Shadow Serpent.
Right.
Yeah.
That, or I send. Who was that? Horse trader. Gray Wafting Smoke. He was a smuggler.
Sure.
I send him out to go find us a route.
Also an option.
It's a choice. It's an option, but perhaps we kill 2 herons with 1 stone.
So let's talk about the 3
herons.
missions. Yes. Let's talk about the 3 missions really quick. The first mission is called Tarnished. So Commander Janicus comes down off the walls and actually talks to the Legion. And Commander Janicus is very much like treating the command staff as equals. So you get the realization that he sometimes holds reins very tightly in town in order to like keep everyone in their place. But the Legion is pretty famous, and Commander Janicus has actually fought with the Legion something like 50 years ago or something when you guys were on a mission or something like that. So some of you folks may actually remember him, or you may be new or younger, I don't know. But he's mentioned in the annals. He's not. So he treats the Legion as if you folks are maybe confidants to a degree. So anyway, there's two missions that Jonicus brings to you, and there's one mission that somebody brings to you against Jonicus. This is orders. So the first mission is Jonicus mentions that blight has been cropping up in town pretty quickly, and a bunch of people that weren't blighted when they first walked in are now blighted, particularly among the civilian population. And he's done some investigations, and he suspects that the Guard Mécanique is responsible. Now, you folks know that the Guard Mécanique is a very famous unit from Orr, and they're very well equipped. They have some wacky stuff, all sorts of clockwork shenaniganery. But he hasn't been able to suss out exactly why or how this is happening, and they have very strong ranks and allies in the city, so he can't kind of force the hand because that's going to cause an implosion, and this is an enclosed space. Like, he can't just tell somebody to leave because he can't, right? Like you can't just walk out the walls and like F off. So the situation's kind of explosive, and he wants a neutral party, i.e. the Legion, to investigate and deal with the issue. And that's the first mission. That's the vital one that I talked about. The other two missions, the first one comes from Commander Jonicus. Jonicus explains that there is his second in command used to be this woman named Akara Lahazar. And it's a really weird name. Like, all of you are like, what kind of name is that? That's a strange name. The reason for that is she comes from a country that most of you don't know a lot about, which is Dar. As a matter of fact, like, if you see her, she is like bone white, has red eyes, white hair. And she used to be his right-hand commander. There's all sorts of stories about her. Like, one of her arms is actually clockwork. She's got like a mechanized arm because she lost an arm in battle. And one of the things about the Dar is that they're cursed, and people are kind of like, there's a lot of superstitions and stuff about them. So she had to return to her homeland every 2 years because the Dar have this condition where if they spend too much time away from their homeland, they start bleeding until they die. Small problem. Anyway, this summer she was supposed to head back, and so like, had everything gone according to schedule, she would be in Dar right now, and everything would be fine, except for the fact that they're in a fort surrounded by undead. She can't just like F off and cross the plains like there's nothing going on. So she started exhibiting signs at the beginning of the curse. Like, she's starting to cry blood and like stuff is going bad. And so she's actually given up her post and given up her position. And it's because like she doesn't believe that she's going to be on her feet much longer. But there is a set of Empire tombs that are underneath this fort. Now they're catacombs, and they've got like revenants and other nasty shit in them. And Jonicus, like most of the other units here, are just like, no, we're not going to help the Dar. They're cursed. We don't want to go into an icky place because of some cursed person. That's weird. But Jonicus is like, look, you know, there is like a protective item that was given to like an old lover of an emperor, like somewhere in those tombs. And if you can get it, it'll probably stave off any effects for like a significant amount of time, like maybe even like up to a year. So he's like, if you can spare a unit to help her go into those catacombs, like, I would really appreciate it, and I'll give you some money, right? Like, that's the supply, I think, that's on that. Oh, no, wait, there is no supply. My bad. It nets you an officer. It nets you a super sweet officer. So yes. And then the last mission is, there's a bunch of smugglers in town, and they're just like, so you haven't been in town for a while, and we don't think that you work for Jonicus, so here's the deal. Jonicus has all of the like Blackshot and stuff, like, and food and supplies and all sorts of stuff, and it's kind of like inside that prison complex, and if you help us lift the supplies and smuggle them out of the city, we'll teach you the secret route that actually goes under town. And Jonicus also hates that because he's like, no, we have to plug all the entrances into the fort so the undead can't sneak in. But the smugglers are like, but profit. So, you know. So that's the three missions. The top one is the, you know, why is there blight in town? The second one is like, do you want a sweet officer, but you have to go into tombs? And the final one is secret, sneaky spy / smuggly operation. It's very Blades.
I want to do all of them.
Yeah, let's just cover them all. Sure, that's no problem. Quartermaster.
Actually, that's not true. I really just want to do the second one. I don't care about the other ones at all. I just want the second one.
That's something to flirt with. We know what's going on.
I mean, also, like, I was telling Sean, like, I got some of the secrets out of Strash. way back when, and I'm starting to see some of these hints of things coming out, and lore. Sorry.
Well, I will point out that I am not resuscitating our heavies or our medic this time. We got too much stuff to do. So the people we have are 2 scouts, a sniper, an officer, and yep, that's it. 2 scouts, an officer, and a sniper. So if we want to do
A scout.
what's that?
No, wait. Miri said 2 scouts. Yeah.
So if we want to do an assault mission, we have Victoria, our sniper. If we want to do a religious mission, we have Zayanova, our officer. If we want to do a supply mission, we have Zayanova, our officer. I think that's what we need for those. So we can do any of the missions. But Rhea may be able to go back in the field. No, Rhea's in bad
She's
form.
super stressed.
She's super stressed. I mean, maybe she has to go anyway, but I'm not doing Liberty.
Yeah. I mean, she's got
You're not doing
2
liberties.
stress she and she has no wounds, no harm. So I mean,
Yeah.
she could. It
Perfect
just
for a secondary mission.
yeah, fair.
So are Multali and
Yeah, neither of them took wounds.
because they didn't take wounds.
So, philosophically, I don't think the marshal would like the supply mission, just because it's one of those. No, the stuff's being rationed for a reason. We don't just sneak it away from the people who need it. That's kind of doesn't feel right about that. Somewhere in there. She's totally okay with, hey, yeah, sure, we can help people get back from being cursed. Yeah, okay.
Can I just give you my heart, Misha? Because this is a standard Blades heist. Lift some supplies, take them out of the city, no problem.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of awesome to me that I'm just like, do you want to play Blades in the Dark? And you're like, no, we're not playing Blades in the Dark.
No.
And it's
Yeah.
kind of amazing.
We're the good guys.
One of the ways that
We're not in it just for the money.
exactly.
Like Blades, that'd be a totally different mindset. But we are the Legion. We are not.
That's
Yeah.
actually really interesting to me because one of the first questions that you ask when you're making a hack is like, how is this different from its originator, right? And it's not just the setting, it's the entire mindset and playstyle becomes very different. If you
Yeah.
threw this pitch to a Blades crew, they'd be like, oh, money. So
Give me the goods. So you said that Jonicus served with us in the Legion a long time ago.
Yep.
You said 50. Like, is he a?
yeah,
is he
he's
a-
like in his 60s. Like I threw out the 50 years ago like a little cavalierly, but
Yeah,
it's
maybe
been
not
like
that long,
decades. Like
decades, yeah.
over 30 years ago, this man's been, he's a general, like he's an Aldermani general with friggin' like, he's actually got like the twin spears on both of his collars. Like he's got 3 of them like running down each, like it's the equivalent of like a 3-star general or something like that. Like you get the sense that he was given like, the Aldermani military was like, dude, you should retire. And he's like, F you, I am career. And they're like, all right, do you want a nice fort to like have like a view of the mountains? Like, job. And he's like, fine. And then when the undead came, he's like, I'm holding this down. So like this dude's been around for a while. Like he's, I'm maybe making him a little more blustery than he actually is personality wise. He's measured. He's fought serious battles and he's like, he doesn't think that he's going to win here, but he's looking at the war as a whole. He's like, no, we're going to hold. I'm going to defend the people in this fort as long as I can, and I'm going to stop the undead until my dying breath. Like, they're not getting past here as long as I can stall them. And if they do, I'm going to try and, like, force them to give up some of their forces, like, make it just difficult, fuck up their supply lines, like, all that stuff like that. So, like, he's playing the long view, and you get the sense from talking to him that he doesn't expect to survive. He's just like, this is my last stand. I'm going to make it good. But he's not playing suicidally, right? Like he's not doing like stupid sorties out of the walls, and like, you know, he's playing the long game.
Harass. Make it expensive for them.
Yeah. So yeah, he's like white haired, you know, like he's grizzled, like he's got like the white like beard stubble.
Yeah. Quartermaster is old. I think Quartermaster served with him a long time ago.
Sounds good.
I think he was commander of the Legion when Quartermaster was but yet a fresh-faced recruit. I mean, if he's the commander, it makes sense.
Who, Jonicus?
Yeah.
You generally don't leave the Legion like that. Jonicus was part of the Aldermani military, but he fought alongside the Legion, like in the same like war or action. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So he's like familiar with you folks, and he has
Wasn't a
respect
member,
for you
though.
folks, but he was not Legion himself.
Got it. Yeah, Quartermaster is like he is not an enemy we want to make.
Duh. I'm pretty sure I said that. So
Commander, it's your decision, but I agree with our Marshal. In fact, I think we should tell Jonicus. I think we're not going to win any favors here. The smugglers are not going to be our friends, but I think we should tell them about the routes out so we can plug them behind us.
Yeah, but shouldn't we get a route out before?
Right, that's what I'm looking at. We don't have a route out.
Right.
So the commander, I think, unless someone's got an idea about a route out, I think the supply mission is on the table. I don't know if we have to do the assault or not.
Can the quartermaster acquire a route out?
Yeah, it's an acquire assets action.
Yeah.
You just have to come up with a plausible story.
All right.
It was really funny because like when we originally wrote it, we were just like, you just have to acquire right out. And then every time people got to that point, they're like, how do you acquire rat out? So we're like, I don't know, maybe smugglers or something, like whatever sounds good.
Yeah.
So we actually put that in the book just to make sure that people have at least one option, but anything will work. You can acquire it, anything that you can give me some reasonable story. If you're like, well, those catacombs probably access some like waterway, but how are we going to get our wagons through? Maybe that's the thing we have to research, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think Quartermaster has a decent sense of the resources of the skills of some of our folks. I mean, not to the degree the Marshal does, but he definitely knows who he picks to send to do things. And he says the Ravens have succeeded in many missions because their corporal has found ways to get them through places they shouldn't have slipped into. You remember the story of sneaking into the church just beneath the Black Oak Knights' noses and posing as them? We send Grey Wafting Smoke. He knows he's a former smuggler. He can find us a way out. And I propose that we have Grey go pose as one of them and trick the smugglers into revealing their ways out. He's done it before.
Nice.
I know you normally make an asset. I mean, you not normally. You make an asset roll, but I'm looking at Smoke's sway and scout and the fact that he was a former smuggler, and I think he's the perfect soldier for the job.
Jay, do you want to roll 2 dice, see what kind of a route you acquire here?
Why do I have to do it?
Oh, you usually play Grey Wafting Smoke. That's a really great image for Jonicus, actually.
Welcome.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
2d6?
2d6, yeah.
All
right. 5. So you acquire the asset. It's not particularly fine. It might be a little sketchy, but
right.
You acquire it. Yeah.
All right.
No problem.
So with that,
and that's one of our campaign actions, by the
way. For those of you that can't see my webpage or Misha's image, she sent a picture of Sean Connery. It's very good. For Jonicus. Anyway, continue. Right, sorry.
So then I think we're down to the assault and the religious mission.
Yep. Well, and one of the assault has to be primary supposedly, according to the rules. So that makes the decision easy.
No, it does.
I'm flexible. I'm willing to talk to you folks if you really don't want to do it. Like we could do something else. But yeah.
Well, I'm thinking, isn't the assault as a secondary? Isn't that a bit lethal then?
It depends. So traditionally on a secondary mission, the only people that die are like the support squad, but because there is no support squad in this instance, that's why like it's vital. So if you folks really want to play something else, we can talk about attaching a squad to that just to make it fair. We can talk about it. I'm flexible in the sense that like I don't want to run a mission and just be like, look, it's the rules and we're doing it. So like if you folks are not into it, I do promise though that it's an interesting. So many of these have ethical dilemmas, right? Like, do you help smugglers? Do you help this badass one-armed dar lady that I completely did not base off of Furiosa? I totally based her off of Furiosa. Or do you want to do this like investigation, which is essentially a chicken mission, right? Like you send a bunch of specialists and you have to make a bunch of social rolls and see how it goes. Like, so
Can't go wrong.
I was going to say, for what it's worth, I'm super excited at the possibility of the Onyx Depths being the secondary mission, because then it means I get to write a bunch of stuff about what happened after the fact.
Fair.
So I'm just putting that out there.
Nice.
okay. So do we want to do Tarnish Clockwork primary, Onyx Depth secondary? Does that sound fun?
Sounds good to me.
Does to me.
Okay.
Jay?
All right. In which case,
I'm good with that. Yeah, no, I'm
you
good
know
with
what to do. Let's pick some folks to go on missions, pick our loads, get ready.
Hold on a second. I need to finish our campaign actions.
Oh, so I'm sorry. You did
No.
one, which was acquire the route.
Yes.
I'm morbidly curious what your second one is. If you're not doing liberties and you're not doing rest and recovery.
Well, we need stuff, my friend.
I was going to say, he's doing clocks,
I don't know.
Josh. He's always doing clocks.
We can use
Always
some
working
soldiers
clocks.
too, because you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do
exactly.
need soldiers.
I,
I
we
don't
need
like
soldiers.
those.
So Josh, I actually meant to ask you about this offline, but it's okay. We can have a discussion online. We talked last session about the steam engines and how they don't act as horses in a lot of circumstances. Like they act as horses with the idea of helping moving the Legion, but they don't help us in any of the ways that we need for speed. So what I want to know is, would it be reasonable then to consider one of them a supply cart, or would it be reasonable for me to make a clock to add the capacity of a supply cart to them? Because it seems like
it's gonna be. I know this is weird, but it's gonna be a 3 clock. We can make it by doing a 4 clock and just filling up a pie slot. I think it's actually pretty easy. They are hard hauling. They've got room. I think you can outfit it. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of World War II, but in World War II, when the American tanks would drive by, like a lot of times when they needed to move stuff, they would just put like wood, they would just chop up trees and put them on the sides of them, put like big sandbags and stuff like that. And just, they had a lot of hooks on the outside so that like stuff could get attached to them and they could haul it.
Yeah.
And it was also used as partial armor. But yeah, that's a different story. Let's not talk about World War II tanks. Let's talk about the fact that you're going to attach cool stuff onto the sides of these supply carts, and they're going to haul it very efficiently for you.
Yeah, perfect. So
yeah.
we're gonna turn these steam engines into steam supply engines.
Yeah, I think it's real easy. It's the only reason I'm saying a 3 clock is if you want to do it with laborers. If you want to do like some sort of like, if you just want to devote one action to it, I'm just going to say that you can do it. It's probably the easiest project you've attempted so far.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is I want to acquire the supplies to turn this into a.
And I'm not gonna make you roll. You just do, because what we're talking about is like well-made hooks and like some tarps, and I mean like the stuff that you need. Your laborers are like, wow, you want us to build what? Like, okay, yeah, that's nothing. Like right. They're like, do you understand that you had us design like engines? Do you know how hard like engine physics are? Like
right.
We have to redesign the boiler from scratch. And now what you want us to do is put like 6 hooks and a couple of tarps on this thing? You know, like I'm not even gonna make you roll. If you just want to devote an action, you have a card.
All right, cool.
So now you've insulted the laborers. Because
I love this visual of the laborers just standing there looking at the side of it being like, wait, that's it?
Yeah. Well, so there's the sad part is that the laborers, instead of getting to work on that, are being sent to do other stuff because that's my action. Like, oh, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah, you don't think I would have said you to do this chicken mission? You are going to go work on getting us religious supplies. So
yeah,
I have Yeah, so while there's a big spectacle, this is very intentional. While there's a big spectacle of everybody seeing these steam engines being like retrofitted inside, there's also a bunch of our laborers that are like hidden in tents, hidden in the prison, and we're like, okay, pull it out, and that's when they're doing the unpleasant duty of making religious supplies, i.e.
Chopping up a body.
Yeah. And
Like a cow.
It's just like a cow.
like a cow.
Just like a cow.
Just like a cow. So with Flavia at the lead, I'm going to take my 3 laborers and put them on finishing the make religious supplies clock. So we now have that clock is full because it had 1 tick on it already. And then
I just want to add one detail, Sean. When the quartermaster's like, you don't get to work on this,
Yeah.
the laborers suddenly come up with like 50 things they can add. They're like, no, but we can make it red. And like one of them's like, but what if we had like tarps to shade us from the sun? And one of them's like, I could put wings on one. Like they're just they come up with like 100 things they can do to like make the job more complicated. You're like, no.
no.
They learned their lesson though.
Yeah, exactly. So, Strash, how big of a clock is it for me to convert my snake killing scorpion into a siege engine?
It is one.
It is
Period.
one.
Yeah,
Oh.
a scorpion is a siege engine. Like literally, a scorpion is a type of siege engine. It's
Cool.
like saying like, so my catapults. How much would it take to convert it to a siege
Just
engine?
double checking. Awesome.
Yeah.
That leaves me with 1 action from the Hammer Matiar, and also some alchemists, and I want my alchemists working on making us Blackshot.
Oh, okay. Well, none of them have the recipe, so that's going to be a 4 o'clock for them.
Okay, to make the recipe or to make
No, to create Blackshot.
Cool.
So let me make you a clock here.
Nice.
Because otherwise it would just be an acquired asset action, and you roll for their corruption.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's go back over that. One of your alchemists is a moon priestess. Who are your other 2 alchemists?
My other 2 alchemists, why did I put them away? I just had them. I have mine alchemist, Ruben Grossi, who's from Barrack Mines. And
He would know how to make Blackshot, because Barrack Mines was literally designed to make Blackshot.
Yeah, 2 of my 3 alchemists are from Barrack Mines.
All right, cool. So go ahead and just roll for corruption. And the way it's going to be is if you roll a 6, you get 1 corruption. If you roll 4 to 5, you get 2 corruption. And if you roll 1 to 3, you get 3 corruption.
I got a crit.
That means no corruption. You just make Blackshot. Good
Nice. All right. We have Blackshot. We have religious supplies. And next time we'll get some food. And then we will be ready to roll out of this place. In fact, you know what? Why not just spend the supply now? No, we don't need that. Okay, that is all of my. I'm going to update. I'm going to update my quartermaster sheet, but we have all.
How are we on training the bandits to be rookies?
We don't have a. We don't have
I have a
clock.
clock. I didn't put it on the thing. I didn't. There isn't one. I have it on my sheet. I don't have the thing. We're not. You want me to jump on that?
We only have 2 full squads.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, let me just double check with you. You do have enough to field 3 full squads. Is that correct?
Yes, we
Yeah.
could probably actually field 4 full squads.
Okay.
But
Right.
it would
The
be
reason I'm asking is when you go below 3, you just automatically lose the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just making sure.
yeah. All right.
If you collapsed everyone down, you could get 3 out though, right?
If we collapse everyone down, we could get 4.
Okay. In which
Yeah,
case,
we're
Sean,
7. We're 7 soldiers down.
as a point of note, this is the last place you can recruit. Good to know for next time.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold off on converting them because we can recruit here. And I'm going to do, I'm really trusting that we're going to win this mission and get supply, because I can recruit and I can spend an extra supply. I'd be spending all of our supply and I can get 2 soldiers in the process.
2 rookies?
3 rookies, 2 soldiers if I spend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can get us a new squad. Nah, I'm fine with rookies. We have enough soldiers right now. So yes, Marshall, if you want more soldiers, I will get them for you. I don't think we have to do it this mission though, because we'll have campaign actions before we leave next time.
Okay, cool. As long as there's a plan.
There is a plan. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, trust me. There's. Yep.
As long as I will eventually get my rookies, I will be okay.
You will get your rookies.
All right, cool. So Marshall, are you ready to? Do you know who's going on which mission?
So which one are we doing as primary again? We're doing the
Furnace Clockwork.
It has to be all specialists.
So you need to send 4 specialists on that.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to spend 4 specialists. Hey.
Oh.
That.
Yeah.
I might have to do a Liberty action then, or we're sending.
Sean's only spends supply. Well, this is what supply is for.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna make your job easier, Marshall. Fine. I will spend 1 supply so we can, in fact, have Liberty.
All right. Liberty removes how much stress?
4, because we're still. And if we happen to have anybody that is noble, they can. I don't think we have anybody that's noble that is stressed.
I believe you are correct.
So.
All right.
Cool.
All right. Then that gives us some options now.
If it helps, you can send a or 2 specialists on the secondary one and decide whoever that is, and then just
Everybody else. Yeah.
What do we need for religious missions, Marshall?
That's what I'm trying to find my sheet. Hold on. There it is. Religious. We need a officer or a medic.
I know and Rhea just never get to go on missions.
I know. I hate it, but I love it.
I would say as a player, I would love to play Zainova because I haven't gotten a chance to play her in a long time. But
yeah, Rhea can do the secondary. That would be fine.
Yeah, let's do that. So we will send. Let's send Well, Sally, I'm going to have to tear you away from your beloved's bedside. I'm going to let Voyus sit this one out. So we're going to send...
Yeah, we don't want to send him on the religious mission.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that.
So we're going to send... Yeah. So we'll send Cobalt Raging Blaze, Zainova, the sniper, and the scout on the primary. And we'll send the medic and Metali on the secondary with... Do you have... Okay, so if it's all specialists, I don't have to send a squad at all for the primary, correct?
correct.
Okay, then we will send...
That's the advantage, right? You got no rookies you have to sneak around or anything. You just...
Yeah. If we want best engagement roles, we can split up Zainova and Victoria because they both have strategist.
Oh, that's a good call. Yeah.
Strategist.
Strategist. Thank you.
Then let's send the Victoria on the secondary and Montali can come on the primary.
Looks good.
And then the secondary we will send. Let's send the Lions.
Do we have 5 soldiers that can go on the secondary that could take harm if we don't roll well?
They will die.
It will die.
Oh, will they die? Okay.
Secondary missions, soldiers and rookies are kind of the same. So
Okay, gotcha.
if you lose 2, you lose 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you have all soldiers, you get an extra die, so it makes it less likely, but they can die.
We do have the Ember Grinning Lions that we took out on the last mission. if you want,
probably want to separate them back out though, unless you want to make it permanent and just be like, no, you're all lions now.
Yeah. But you're gonna send the lions out on the Onyx Depths.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
I want to make that.
All right. Just wanted to throw this out there. We could take a break and then just start with the engagement roll and jump into the action.
Yeah.
After that, does that sound good?
Yes.
Awesome.
All right.
I need liquids.
All right, folks. Hang out with us. We'll see you again soon.